Action Research 1, and this is video 4. Having fun yet? This is good information to learn, so stay hooked up with me. We were talking about identifying the problem, determining what you're going to do your research on in your classroom, most likely in your classroom. Here are some strategies for identifying a problem. Reflection is one strategy for identifying problems. Think about your own setting. Consider what's working well and what might need improvement. Think about what intrigues you about your teaching. What would you like to know more about? What values do you hold? What are your understandings of theories that impact practice? How did you arrive at your beliefs about teaching? Some recommend keeping a daily reflective journal to see if trends emerge. So even at the very beginning stages, those are some of the things you could be putting in your journal entries. Others recommend conducting a reflective interview with teachers. Talk through their concerns with one another and see what they might offer you as far as insight. These reflective dialogues can be conducted face-to-face or using technology. What if questions may be asked as part of the reflection process, and they may help elicit images of what could be. For example, what if I begin teaching the English-speaking children in my first grade classroom some basic Spanish words? Would that reduce the anxiety I sense in my English language learners? That is reflection. Some reflective journaling techniques, which is, remember, something journaling you're going to be doing. Write information or jot notes as soon as you can to help jog your memory later. Even writing a word or two can help you remember important thoughts or concerns later. Set aside some time each day to write and review and to expand the detail. Use prompts to jumpstart your writing. Include information about the context, about what's going on in your classroom, descriptions of your classroom. Document actions you might consider taking or outcomes you might like to see. And then you should review your journal regularly to help you see themes or patterns. You can certainly use technology as far as video, email, listservs, chat rooms, so that you have a record that you can easily pull this back up and review it. Description is another strategy for determining and focusing on the problem to be investigated, so the one that you're trying to determine would work for your research project. Insights can be gained by describing the who, what, when, where, how, and why of a situation. You can see how that fits very well with the idea of description. These descriptions come from observations. Begin by describing the situation you wish to change or improve, describing the evidence you have that there is a problem, and describing critical factors you believe affect the situation. Other options include listing incidents or intriguing observations you've had, describing experiences, examining textbooks, curriculum documents, and lesson plans, examining demographics of students and perhaps recording observations about one subset of students, and comparing your own instructional delivery with best teaching practices advocated by leading national organizations. For example, you might keep a journal for 1 week about the interactions you observe between English-speaking children and English language learners in your class, describing the type of interactions that occur, such as asking for assistance, who's engaged in the interactions, Joe and Daniel, for instance, when and where the interactions occur, like is it during free reading time, in the language center, at the computer station, and your interpretations of the situation. Daniel appears frustrated as Joe does not understand his questions about how to start the computer program. So, using description might help you limit your focus so that you could really come up with a specific area. Some questions you might ask are, what evidence exists that what you perceive as a problem really is a problem? Who are the students or groups affected by the problem? How often is the material, concept, or skill currently taught? How is mastery of the material, concept, or skill currently assessed? Where is the material taught in the scope and sequence of the course, and when during the year is this addressed? Explanation is a third strategy for trying to determine a specific problem for investigation. This strategy involves hypothesizing about how and why critical factors affect a situation. This technique is called the priority pie as a mechanism to help identify variables you believe are most relevant to an issue and to help clarify personal beliefs about the relative importance of those variables. They suggest drawing a pictorial representation or a graphic representation to help you see those relationships. And then you decide from that, is this relationship really meaningful? Am I uncertain about it? How does it all fit together? For example, Mr. Rodriguez might think that several things contribute to poor student engagement in his social studies class. He may believe that some of these factors are a greater problem than others. He could assign percentages to determine the ones on which he really wants to focus. And he might identify several things with different percentages to determine and turn that into a graph that would help him really see which one is the main one or a couple of ones that he really wanted to address. Literature review. Conducting a limited literature review can help you develop your explanation or clarifying your research question. When you review the literature about anything that you have a thought on, it will help you really then find out what other researchers have already reported about the topic. If there's some theoretical perspectives that relate to this topic. And it also quite often provides promising practices. Sometimes you'll even find it where it will say things to do for further research. Most people gather information from relevant sources, for example, before making a major family purchase such as a home. So in action research, this review is generally more limited than that considered appropriate for formal studies and research, but still you do research the literature. There's a variety of literature that could be reviewed. Direct primary resources are direct reports of original research. Secondary sources are summarizing that primary materials. It doesn't matter which one you're using as long as you're getting your information. Professional literature provides perspectives from experienced professionals, and that's quite often going to be your research studies. Practice literature comes from people that are actually addressing approaches to practice, what you're actually doing in the classroom. There's even institutional reports that may come from government or other agencies. Media materials such as videos and documentaries and websites may provide you all kinds of information. In reviewing a source of literature, consider its relevance. Does it provide information that can help inform my study? Is it credible? The conclusions appear to be supported by the data, and is there similarity with my setting and my students in my classroom? Brainstorming with other teachers is also another place, or even with yourself, just drawing on a blank sheet of paper, make the T, put on the left side any topics or interests that come to mind, and on the right side then add anything, the specific questions that would go with that topic. Have some teachers add some things to that with you to look at. We're going to end this video so we can fit on YouTube, so I'll be back in a minute. Stay tuned.